Well, there's no two ways about it that tariffs built our country. Like when you look at Mount Rushmore and you see all the presidents there, every single one of them were high tariffs. Like you have to have a way. If you're going to do tax, you can do it a multitude of ways. You tax foreign imports rather than giving income tax to people. And Jamison Greer's not doing a great job. The way he's done it, he's lost every case that he's done. Like we got to be better about this because here's the deal, guys. You got to be thinking 10, 20 years in the future.
You can't blame Jamison Greer for this.
Has to go. Hold on. America has to go back to being a nation that builds and manufacture. And tariffs are one of the main ways you do that.
Okay, then why has manufacturing? Hold on. Why has manufacturing declined? I mean, you can't just I get that talking point, and
Republicans
you said it.
Sold out our country for 30 years.
Administration says it for consumers.
No.
That is how they work.
And
They work at incentivizing domestic production when they work.
Where have they incentivized domestic production?
Well, I'm saying Jamison Greer, like he's the guy in the job.
It's not Jamison Greer's
fault.
fault.
Better policy. The concept of tariffs, when properly applied and adjusted to the 21st century, work. And nobody's answered my question. How are you going to return America to manufacturing and beyond?
I bet it works, but you're providing absolutely no evidence.
It's China builds. China makes stuff, guys.
Tonight on CNN.
Amazon says that it got $600 million.
You're here to talk about the economy.
Companies like Apple received more than $2 billion, and Nike recovered $300 million.
The tariff debate gets heated. Abby Phillip challenges Trump tariff strategy, but Carolyn jumps in with an argument that completely changes the conversation. And even she admits Republicans and Democrats may have gotten this wrong. Let's get into it.
Taken in hundreds of billions of dollars. Supreme Court gave us a little shot, but we're allowed to do it in a different manner.
That is being challenged, by the way, that he can do it in a different manner. But I mean, Trump is not going to learn. And I think the optics of this are pretty bad. You know, these corporations are basically getting a massive windfall. They did absorb a lot of those costs, some of them that were passed down to consumers. And if you bought something from overseas, you're not ever probably seeing that money again.
No, I'm not getting any of the money back on my bundles, and that's okay.
Right. All the shopping that you've been doing.
Wait, why'd she spend so much money on hair that's not hers anyway? Roll it.
Yeah, but see, you're not going to get that money back.
And I don't know how businesses, especially small businesses, are supposed to even get that money down to the consumers, because if I'm a business, I'm scared in this economy. I'm keeping the cash that I have for my cash reserves. I've probably overextended on some business loans that I need to pay back. I mean, I think a lot of people are just trying to catch up. There's not an excess to give more to the consumer.
The other thing that stands out is the speed at which this is happening. The Supreme Court decision was February of this year. Within less than 6 months, they gave out $100 billion.
And that's actually not even close to the total.
Yeah.
Because that's really just from the beginning of this year. It's a phased process. So there's a lot more money that's going to go out.
My mother broke her ankle. It's 3 months with Medicare. We're trying to get reimbursed for a $300 x-ray. You need to fill out 2 forms, have 7 receipts. You have to sign something in blue ink, witnessed by a Hare Krishna during a full moon, and then you have to have her left ankle notarized. Like it's so set up for the corporations and that top 1% against all of the average Americans, and this is another example of that, unfortunately.
J.D. Vance was on Fox News tonight, and he was actually calling out the socialists who are running in races across the country. But here's what he said about socialism. Listen.
This is exactly what El Sayed and these limousine socialists are actually selling to the American people. They're not promising you industry. They're not promising you good jobs. They're not promising self-sufficiency and a good industrial economy. What they're promising is redistribution. Again, we've seen this in Europe and in the United States.
The point that J.D. Vance is making is so prevalent. I'm not saying you have to be an economist, but what I'm saying is you have to be financially literate to understand that when you take funds and redistribute everything freely to the people, then there's no money to recuperate to make those funds again. Say, for instance, we're making a lot of Red Bull. We make all of the Red Bull and we give it out for free. Well, we were making a Red Bull, we were making money, recuperating the funds that we spent. That gave us the accessibility to make more of the product. When things are being distributed and dished out for free and there's no money involved, then how are you going to expect for things to be recuperated in order to get those products back on the market? Services and products are the same thing when it comes down to giving them out for free. That's my 2 cents. But let's get back to the video.
It seems like it's redistribution for me, but not for thee, because they literally said they were going to use the tariff money to reimburse farmers who were hurt by the tariffs. They also put tariffs on the economy, and guess what? We lost manufacturing jobs in that time.
But again, the loss for the Trump administration was the Supreme Court case. The Supreme Court decided this issue. The case was brought by roughly the same attorneys general who are now bringing the case against the new Trump tariffs. This is the decision they sought. This is the relief they sought. This is what the actual appellants to this case wanted to happen. And now the same people are saying, well, I can't believe the money's going back to these corporations.
Well, that's because they broke the law.
That was always going to happen. The problem here is that Trump believes in tariffs. There's no question about that. He thinks they're doing the right thing. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. We'll save that for another day. The point is, once he lost the case, it's out of his control. This is what the court mandated, and here we are.
This is where observation works, and Joe makes an important distinction right here. The Supreme Court struck down the original tariff approach. So when everybody starts acting like this refund process was Donald Trump's original plan, that leaves out a pretty major part of what happened. But those are two different arguments. Roll it.
Which they reimburse is completely within their control.
Right.
The court just said the tariffs are illegal. They decide how they reimburse, and they've created a process that makes it possible for large corporations to get reimbursed.
But if you are, are some of these
but if you are a regular person,
you didn't import and pay the tax. You paid it downstream. Yes, I understand that.
Some people did, and it's
the money had to go back to the importers. That was the decision.
To get that money back.
This is the greatest redistribution of wealth in the history of the United States, and it is coming from regular, everyday Americans who are just trying to pay their bills, pay their grocery bill, buy a car, make sure that their kids have everything they need when they're heading back to school in the fall, and it is going into the hands of people who already have so much.
Especially when the economy's hurt because of the Iran war. If anybody needed it now, but
the average person lost $2,000 last year because of
the government can call all these companies in and go, look, you need to filter some of this down to the people. Figure it out, and we'll figure it out with you. And that's a choice that they're not doing that.
And Donald Trump has the influence to do that.
Some companies, to be fair, are saying, either if you're Amazon, because Amazon sells, they have both business merchants and consumer merchants, so they're going to try to give back some tariffs to certain customers. But other companies are hedging against future cost increases by saying they're going to use the tariff refunds to keep prices lower, because guess what? Trump is trying to keep the tariffs, and he's being sued, as Joe pointed out, by 25 states who are basically arguing that these new tariffs, are a pretext for the same old tariffs that are going to raise prices on Americans yet again.
Well, there's no two ways about it that tariffs built our country. Like when you look at Mount Rushmore and you see all the presidents there, every single one of them were high tariffs. Like you have to have a way. If you're going to do tax, you can do it a multitude of ways. You tax foreign imports rather than giving income tax to people, and it creates one of two things,
that was in a completely different economy. My point is the world economy doesn't work that way.
And
by
so
the way, things were already so expensive.
So there's a case to be made that you have to adapt tariffs to the 21st century. And Jameson Greer's not doing a great job. The way he's done it, he's lost every case that he's done. Like, we got to be better about this, because here's the deal, guys. You got to be thinking 10, 20 years in the future.
You can't blame Jameson Greer for this.
Has to go, but America, but one way or another, hold on, America has to go back to being a nation that builds and manufactures. And tariffs are one of the main ways you do that.
Okay, why has manufacturing declined? I mean, you can't just, I get that talking point, and
Republicans sold out our country for 30 years.
Let's talk about that. First of all, she didn't say that the Democrats did everything wrong and the Republicans did everything right. She did not do that. She didn't. She said that both of the parties, the Democrats and the Republicans, sold out the country for 30 years. I didn't say that. She said that. Those are her words. I do not agree that the Republican Party was doing most of the selling out. Now, whether you agree with her tariff argument or not, she's willing to criticize her own side. And that's what I like. Probably.
The facts don't back up a manufacturing renaissance. In fact, manufacturing investment has gone down compared to the Biden years. How do you justify that when you're claiming the tariffs are supposed to bring back manufacturing?
No, I'm saying the vision you have to think of for the next 20 years. Why is
I'm not talking vision. I'm talking reality.
Right,
what is the reality of how tariffs have affected the economy? Some industries might benefit in the short term from tariffs, but in the long run, the broader economy is going to suffer. That is what we have seen happen.
Tariffs work.
To do what?
The way that
to
the
raise
Trump
prices
administration
for
is currently
Americans?
going about it
in the long run,
not successful.
Tariffs work by raising prices for consumers.
No.
That is how they work.
And
They work by
and
incentivizing domestic
because we've
production
allowed
when they
lower
work.
prices.
Where have they
Labor to replace
incentivized domestic production?
That's why I'm saying Jamison Greer, like he's the guy in the
it's not-
job.
it's not Jamison
I'm
Greer's
telling
fault.
you,
Better policy.
it actually hasn't happened.
But the bottom line is the concept of tariffs, when properly applied and adjusted to the 21st century, work. And nobody's answered
No,
my
they
question,
haven't
which is
worked.
how are you going to return
You can't say
America
something
to
worked when it didn't
manufacturing and
work.
being
Yeah, I mean, you're claiming that it worked, but you're providing absolutely no evidence.
It's China builds. China makes stuff, guys.
You can leave it up to the Democrat Party, the pundits, and the panels to come up with a whole bunch of problems, but no solutions. That was a good ending because Abby Phillips challenges her on directly manufacturing investments, and Caroline keeps returning to the part of long term, 21st century, 20 to 30 years. And these people can't think long term. Abby Phillips doesn't think long term. A lot of Democrat socialists don't think long term. They're not thinking long term. They're thinking about free right now, free, but they're not thinking long term. The disasters that will come when everything is free and there's no more money to make any more things. Maybe a discount or a sale or something like that, but you have to recuperate the funds in order to make the products again for the other customers that want to come in and buy those products. If there are no funds received from products and services, then you will have no services and products eventually. You run out. So who's making the stronger case? Is Abby right that we're not seeing the manufacturing results that we were promised? Or is Caroline right that this has to be judged by long-term strategy? What about those tariff refunds? Should any of that money ultimately make it back to the consumers? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And until next time, this has been the Jay Revardo Show. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share so we can keep bringing you debates like this on the Jay Revardo Show.